Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to this post-lunch session. We thought nothing could keep you more awake than having this wonderful movie star on the stage. So thank you, Samantha, for accepting to do this. Avarna is not here, so we're just going to have some fun on stage, and I want you all to participate. As you know, every year in AIMA, Rekha does this consistently. She always has a women's panel. And I remember last year, she had Lata Venkatesh with, there was me and there was two other very famous people on that stage. And people got so emotional, on stage, they started crying. So this women's panel has become something of something which is part of the DNA of AIMA. Today we have a very privileged to have Samantha with us, and I think that for all of you who don't know her, I'm sure you've seen her, but there are many aspects to Samantha. She's not just a beautiful face, she's a very smart lady. She's started as a movie star, but emerged into an entrepreneur. But more than anything else, she has a very kind heart. And during the Chennai floods, she, in her own way, she contributed to the relief. She started an organization called Pratyush, which looks after people. And that's her commitment to society that matters most. So let me start by, I'm just going to ask her a few quick questions, and we're going to have an interesting conversation. So Samantha, let me start by asking you. I remember you as a beautiful girl who was joining movies, and you were beautiful. There's no second guessing that. But then suddenly I saw you in Family Man. And in Family Man, you were the villainess. No makeup. In fact, instead of makeup, she put dark patches. So what made you want to switch from becoming everyone's beautiful heroine to everybody's most hated villain?
Really hated villain?
I don't admire your acting. But
firstly,
who saw Family Man here? Didn't she act? Huh? You loved her, see?
Thank you. Okay, so that means not completely villainous. Firstly, it's truly an honor for me to be here today, and I was just asking, ma'am, what am I doing here talking to you? I'm in the most esteemed company, and I have everything to learn from you, and I don't know. There's absolutely nothing I have done in my life that is a patch on any of you, but I probably can just be here and try to keep it real and be as honest as I can, and that's what I can do, I guess.
But all these men here, and some women, lots of women, all of them are very good at management. All of them come from learning organizations. So they're always eager to learn. And they're eager, so they succeed because they put hard work, they put commitment, and they bring strategic thinking together. But the one thing they don't have is none of them know how to act, unfortunately. Maybe some do, but they don't know how to act.
They might be really good actors as well. You never know.
You think, except for my sister who went to Kalakshetra, there's only one candidate in the room. So I would like to know how many of you have daughters? How many of you have daughters? And if your daughters said they wanted to join movies, what advice would you give them?
Well, I think like any business, it is a hard business. But today, what the film industry is very different from what it used to be. A few years ago, I would never have been able to dream to pivot in such a way, to become an entrepreneur, to increase the shelf life of an actor. See, I do believe that as an actor, you have a short shelf life. And something about stardom and fame and the recognition can be so heady, and you can, for a brief moment, think that it's all you. But it's not true. There's a lot of destiny and there's a lot of grace that comes to you when you are a star. It's not completely your own efforts. So I think that for me, it was very important to understand that I wanted to create an impact larger than my shelf life as an actor. And with the fame and the recognition comes a visibility that is not usually present in any other business. It's so fast, it's so quick, it's so fleeting, and it's widespread. So I think what I've been able to do is to use that visibility now and hope to create a larger impact with the businesses, with the platforms that I choose to champion. So it depends. What is your infinite game when you say you want to be an actor? So if anyone comes to me and says, I want to be an actor, I would ask them, do you have short-term goals, or are you looking at the infinite game? I think I'm playing the infinite game.
That's wonderful. So tell us a little bit more about your infinite game, your journey in entrepreneurship, which is really quite significant.
Probably not the smartest business investor in the room, but definitely it comes from personal challenges, personal experiences, and also maybe a wish list of sorts. Every time I find myself faced with a problem that I don't have an immediate solution to, or a solution is not accessible, it just gives me an immediate interest in building something new and associating with people who can create this for me. For example, I had recently found myself in a predicament, and I was unwell for a while and faced with an autoimmune condition. And so I was looking for clean perfume because I wanted to reduce the toxin load on my body. And I was told that there's a lot of toxins in your perfume. So I was looking for a clean perfume and I couldn't find it anywhere. As a result, I wasn't wearing perfume for a few months and I really missed my perfume. And that made me think, why? Why not? Why aren't there clean perfumes? Why isn't anyone thinking of it? If I need it, someone else needs it. And hence Secret Alchemist, one of the brands that I invested in and co-found. We launched our clean perfumes maybe 2 months back, and it was a roaring hit because not just me, many women were looking to reduce the toxin load on their bodies. So I think that when I invest, there has to be that personal, authentic storytelling to it. I will never invest or be associated with any brand that I don't personally use, I don't personally believe in. So I think then the storytelling becomes extremely authentic.
So from becoming a box office queen and honey bunny, you've embarked on this entrepreneurial journey. But we did read about the fact that you were unwell, and now seeing you on stage is proof that you've built not just strength of body but strength of character in embarking on this journey. Tell us about your journey in well-being, because as you know, time had this picture of a child who would live to be 100 years old. So in terms of longevity, everyone wants to know what are the biohacking secrets. How do you still manage to look like this in spite of working hard and having had to deal with autoimmune? So tell us about your journey in well-being and what's appropriate for our audience.
Who's interested in biohacking? It's the coolest new word right now, right?
Who's interested in biohacking?
One person, really?
Really?
No.
They're shy. Okay, biohacking is a shortcut to looking good like her.
It's not a shortcut.
And staying relevant in your mind to the rest of the world.
Well, I was, like all movie stars, we really think that we're going to keep doing this till the end of time and we're always going to be able to do it. And that idea came to like a grinding halt for me in 2023 when I was diagnosed with myositis. It's an autoimmune condition, and I, just like anybody else in their early 30s, was raring to go, and I thought I had the whole world before me, and it all came crashing down. So it was a very difficult time of my life where I had a lot of time alone to myself. And with any autoimmune conditions, it's not an immediate fix. There's nothing that you can do to immediately fix yourself. And I keep coming back to that quote where you think you have 100 problems until you have a health problem. And when you have a health problem, you have only one problem, which is a health problem. So this problem really, really consumed me. And this was when I started obsessing about wellness and getting myself better and healing myself and doing it the alternative way. I don't know if that's a bad word in this room. But adopting many, many practices to see what made me feel better. And as a result of that obsession, I'm here sitting today feeling a lot more stronger, a lot more clear-headed, a lot more focused than I ever was. And what I thought was the worst phase of my life turned out to be the best phase of my life, because I realized that nothing is set in stone. I might be a big movie star one day. Tomorrow, if I'm not seen on screen, the world will forget me. They'll forget I ever existed. And that's how fleeting stardom is. So it taught me lessons that I would never have learned from success. In the past, I was always fearful of failure, and I was always running away from it, and I was always hiding from the fact that something I did or something I said or something I was a part of failed. But today I would say that my greatest strength comes from those periods of failure, of solitude, of struggle. And I think that this is the best lesson that life could have ever taught me. And as a result, when I came back whole, as in I really, at that point of time, I really did not think that I could ever get back to work, come back on the stage, talk to you. I didn't think of that as a possibility. But today, because of that experience, my life has completely changed. The decisions I make have completely changed. And I couldn't be more grateful for the years that I thought were the most difficult of my life.
So really, you deserve an Oscar. No, she's, truthfully, most people must know that the new trend today is about biohacking. So instead of swallowing a lot of allopathic tablets, you have this generation swallowing a handful of nutraceuticals. and I think there's some evidence to prove that it is good for you. In coming from healthcare, I would say prevention is the best. If you can keep yourself healthy, there's nothing like it. You can assure quality of life and be present every day in your true form. But having seen your journey, I think the learning from that is that the strength of mind is the most important vitamin that you can give yourself. Learning from your journey, I've realized that this is probably the most important vitamin that you can give yourself, because it's really kept you whole. And more than whole, I think it's fostered a new generation of thinkers who now say, let's think of how we can improve quality of life. It's looked at, I feel that for the next 30 years we'll be dealing with heart attacks, strokes, etc. And post that, the work that we have to deal with inflammation of any kind, coming from emotional stress, that's a space where we're looking for answers. It's also a space where we're looking to improve quality of life. And tell us something about your wellness journey. I want some secrets.
Well, it is pretty
that they
extensive.
Can all practice.
I mean, it is a long morning routine and a long evening routine, but these small little habits have just been extremely life-changing. And see, right now my goal is definitely what I leave behind. I should never be part of the problem. I should be part of the solution. And that's what I want to leave behind. I don't want to be part of the problem. So with how transparent I am about my wellness journey, with my podcast on health, Take 20, where I talk to doctors, and I know that a lot of my followers follow me for the glamorous life and for the movie updates, but as a byproduct, they're also consuming this information on health, and God forbid they need it one day, they know where to go to it for. So I think with Take 20 and all of these wellness investments, the idea is to not land in that state of helplessness that I once found myself in. I do not wish that for anyone else. And if there is one thing that they can take from my journey, is that prevention is the magic word. You know, before I started implementing all of these small practices, now I'm talking something as minuscule as a gratitude journal, and that many of you here might actually laugh away and smirk at, saying, really, a gratitude journal? But honestly, when a gratitude journal for 1 year changed my whole personality from someone who was always looking for what's going to go wrong, always fearing, how am I going to mess up? What is the next worst thing that can happen to me? That was my mentality. Like, if there was success, if I had success, I would forget about it the next day. But failure would stay for a long time. Anxiety, expecting failure would stay for a long time. And just by a simple change in a mindset, writing a gratitude journal where I point out 3 things that I'm grateful for today, a year later, my whole attitude towards failure and hiccups have completely changed. Before, the previous version of me had probably 5 films released in a year, because that was a symbol of a successful actor. You needed to have 5 films released in a year, you needed to have big blockbusters, you needed to be on the list of top 10 actors of the year. You needed to be endorsing the biggest multinational brands. This is the symbol of a successful actor. And today, I haven't had a film release in 2 years. I'm not on any of these lists. I don't have any 1,000 crore films, but I'm the happiest that I have ever been, because that version of me scared me. It was so fragile that every Friday it could change, and it would scare me. It would give me anxiety that someone else is going to claim that position tomorrow and I will be replaced. Because my whole self-worth was based on that calculation of that Friday. But with all of these practices that I have adopted, whether it is slow living, whether it is conscious living, clean living, and focus on, I now no longer endorse any of the big brands that I used to endorse as a symbol of status, but only, in fact, I've in return invested in brands that I believe to be clean, transparent, and effective, because I believe that this is what I want to leave behind, and this is what is making me truly happy. And I can say for a fact that I'm more happier than I've ever been because of these conscious choices. I believe that what has changed in my life is now I put my effort and into the things that bother me, in the things that bother me. And when I see that align with my purpose, this is what is making me truly fulfilled.
Wonderful. So tell me, that's quite an amazing journey. So what is the first thing you do in the morning? Besides writing a gratitude journal?
Well, I definitely start off with that gratitude journal and a Surya Namaskaram, gratitude to God, and red light meditation. It's quite a bit, it is extensive.
Tell us. This is what
It
we
is
need to do.
definitely 1.5 hours and 45 minutes of meditation. So it is 1.5 hours, yes. But it is non-negotiable. And so today I had to come take an 8 a.m. flight. So it involved me waking up at 4 a.m. But that's okay because it is non-negotiable. For me to come here and sit in front of such an accomplished group and not feel fearful and anxious, I need that 1.5 hour morning routine. Hello.
So we have with us Avarna Jain. Avarna Jain is not just Sanjeev Goenka's daughter. She is much, much more. And I think Avarna is really has done so much for this space of entertainment. And she's done it quite quietly, even though she does interview movie stars, which was why she will continue to interview.
Yeah, I was just wondering, I should be the one interviewing Avarna. I have so many questions.
Yes. She's an
Thank
expert.
you, you're so generous.
So handing it over to Avarna. Avarna, just to let you know, we've worked on, Samantha has told us a little bit about her life story, her source of strength, and how she's recovered from illness, and her entrepreneurial journey as well.
I think we've covered most of it.
Let me hand it over to you now.
Thank you so much, and my sincerest apologies. It's taken me more than an hour, which is very unusual. I don't know what the reason is. But thank you so much, and thank you for this opportunity, Suneeta Auntie. Truly appreciate it. I'm going to quickly mention a couple of things that I wanted to. Samantha, I'm a big fan.
I'm a big fan as well.
Oh, thank you so much.
I was just I just asked them if it's okay if I ask you a few questions as well.
You can ask me whatever you want, but I think everyone here is here to hear you, not me.
Most definitely not.
Okay.
So you were, she was on the list of the most powerful women of 2025, and I want to know what would you say to many young girls who now can dare to dream and dream above the little boxes that are given to them as to what they can and what they can't do?
So, first of all, I think with Suneeta Auntie sitting here, I don't think I should be answering this question because she's truly an inspiration.
Now I become the moderator. Let me hand it over to you.
No,
Please.
so she's truly an inspiration, as are you. But since you've asked me this question, honestly, I think it's the biggest thing is to just keep doing something. And the moment you feel, should I or shouldn't I, just take the bull by its horns and do it, and eventually something will come of it. And most of us, I feel like in the Indian context, at least women very often are always sitting in limbo and thinking, should we, shouldn't we, what will people think, what will people say? Don't think so much.
So you're saying it's okay to fail?
It's absolutely okay to fail. I think the only way to move forward is by learning from failure. There is no place where you can learn something better than, as my dad always said, the University of Hard Knocks.
That's a nice line, University of Hard Knocks. I absolutely agree. I think for the longest time I had the same problem, the fear of failure. Ma'am, have you ever had the fear of failure? I'm sure. Have you ever failed? Are you capable of failing is the question.
Everyone is capable of failure. I think what we realize that, and what you have showed, that there is an opportunity in every crisis. So find an opportunity.
Could you share with us an example of when you faced crisis and you felt the pressure of that crisis and overcame it?
I think, we were pioneers, the first to start a corporate hospital. We had the responsibility of looking after patients as well as managing investors' money. So to find that balance between how do you create value for all of your stakeholders, no one had done it before in India and done it at 1/10 of international costs. So we were fortunate we had a father. The secret to me not being afraid of failure is the fact that he put trust in me, as he did with all my sisters. And when you trust someone, they tend to live up to your expectations. So I'm really not afraid of failure. I feel that I take measured risks because I'm not afraid of failure.
And 3 sisters, that has been the... because, you know, the 3 sisters are iconic on so many levels. But in the business also, there are 4. How am I missing? Oh my God, I'm so sorry about that.
Missing the 2 aunties in Hyderabad and the 2 in Chennai.
2, okay, I'm so sorry. Okay, well, I don't know why I thought 3, but I'm sure when, especially when you started, there must have been many questions about women at the forefront.
Well, there were women. When I came to work the first day, my CFO told me, "You're only here because you're your father's daughter." And in a way, he was right, but my father trusted me to do the right thing. So I went straight back to college. I went to IFMR and I learned I spent 3 months, 4 months learning how to read a balance sheet, capital structuring, and treasury management. Just for the fun of it, I added that. But truly, it is true that it's not easy to just step in as a woman into business. But I'm sure a man who didn't have the same knowledge would also be questioned.
You think that?
I think so. What do you think?
That's fascinating. I'm not sure it's so equitable. I think there is a difference. I think it's changing, but there's still some amount of difference in the perception. A lot of times, I think people feel that women are doing this more as a hobby, as a time pass, until you prove yourself.
What would you say was your biggest strength as women leaders of the organization? What was the edge? Because today now you are a case study for everyone. Anyone who has dreams, quote you, name you, look up to you.
Hey, this is about you and her. I'm
Not
only
at all.
here to give vote of thanks.
I'm the mini version of this.
No, really, I'm only here to give the vote of thanks. No. But
Wait, don't we all want to know this? Don't you want
Absolutely.
to know this?
Please, Suneeta auntie.
what's the question again?
What did you feel? Well, how do you feel that you had as women leaders a slight edge?
I believe that women are, we are very excited to learn. We're open to learning. And the second thing is that we have a lot of empathy. The third is, I truly believe we have right brain and left brain. So we can dress well as read a balance sheet or run a business. So we're able to integrate both sides of the brain to make sure that the family works, the business works. And we treat business like our family. We always say Apollo family, and I think that's what binds us in a way with our businesses and with all of our stakeholders. We make them feel very relevant and very important.
So Samantha, before you turn this into a quiz about everyone but you, I want to
I
ask you
have
a question.
podcast where I'm the host, right? So I love asking questions. I love learning from...
So let's flip the tables this time around. So tell me, you've been this #1 film star, highest paid actress, won all these awards. What made you pivot from that space to becoming this businesswoman, this entrepreneur, this co-founder, investor? What prompted this whole change? And sorry, I don't know if you asked this question already. I don't know if you asked this.
Yeah, but I'll keep it short. I think that where I'm from Chennai, a small town. Nobody dared to dream. Nobody actually, I would say that. Where I'm from, nobody really got out. Nobody dared to dream. So I think that desire and resilience to get out and do something was very strong for me from a very early age. And I do know that the movie industry especially is really a gift. It's not something that you can take credit for. So I think that once you're given this responsibility, I started asking myself this question: what did I do to deserve all of this fame and all of this respect? I felt, it felt very hollow, I would say. Like the moment where everyone else was appreciating me and all this admiration and this applause was when I felt the most hollow and the most fearful of losing it all, and of people waking up and finding out that I was like imposter. So I think that it came from that need that, yes, I do have all of this recognition and I do have this visibility. Now I need to put it to use. I need to use it to create impact. I think that's what made me pivot.
That's amazing, absolutely amazing. Taking off from what you just said, how important do you think it is for people with influence to actually create impact or work towards sustainability or towards the larger good?
I think it's so very important and kind of ignored now. And I realized that I was part of the problem. My goals were so self-serving and selfish, to be honest, because you just look around and you see, yeah, they are doing it, so this is the norm and I should do it too, and you don't really question anything. But sometimes life gives you a hard knock, and then you question all of your decisions and all of your motives. So I think that I would have been very comfortable in the place I was, just thinking of myself. But the moment I got sick and I had that time alone to myself, and it was definitely an existential crisis. And I think that I got almost a second chance to do this all over again. And I want to do it right. I do not want to be part of the problem. I want to be part of the solution.
I think that deserves a big hand. Tell me, what's your framework really for choosing how you deploy both your time and your capital? Because that's pretty much what we have, right? I mean, in a way to invest is your time and your capital.
I think like I haven't had the privilege of growing up with too many mentors, with too many people who are teaching me how it's done. So if there's one thing that I honed, it was my intuition. And the films that I select, the decisions I make, I didn't really have too much of guidance. So with this intuition, I made sure that the projects that I choose, everything that I lend my time to, has to have authenticity. I have to be using the product, I have to be believing in the product 100% when I decide to co-create or invest my time and money in it. Of course, it's not some personal ego trip where I decide just based on my intuition. Yes, I have a very, very able team around me who does all of the foundational work. I would be lost without them, and now they do guide me as to whether my intuition is absolute crap or makes sense.
I'm sure your intuition is amazing, especially if I have to see all the roles that you've played in the films you've done and the shows you've done. They've been absolutely fabulous. So going by that, I think your intuition is on point.
Thank you.
So another question is, clearly, in terms of your entrepreneurial ventures, they are an extension of your personal story or your personal narrative in some form. If you had to sort of summarize this, what story are you trying to tell?
Have you noticed this when you were growing up, like elders would say, stick to one thing and do it well. You can't you can't wear too many hats. You can't have too many interests. It means that you were weak or you weren't focused. I think that with experience, I've understood now that that's not true. That you can have many facets and find ways to express yourself, and that you don't have to box yourself into just one. For example, I didn't have to box myself into just being known as a hero, and I can branch out and I can do many things that express a multifaceted self. So I think that that's something that is a story that I want to tell, and also to all the little girls who, like the little girl, to even me, who I was as a child, who was so fearful, so unconfident, and so scared of failure, never attempting anything because what if I fail and what if everybody laughs? I mean, I think that just, it's okay. You will fail and people will laugh and you will feel horrible, but you will get back up.
To come. I think the resilience that you're talking about is absolutely phenomenal, and for you to have developed that it's so commendable, because a lot of people in the world today don't succeed because they don't have resilience, and that's the one trait that sets apart a successful person and a not so successful person, I think. So really kudos to you for moving away from what you're describing as your childhood self of being less confident and, you know, not so sure of what you want to do. It's really fabulous, absolutely, to see you like this now.
I also wanted to ask you, since you have invested in, you're like the biggest sports. So what are your thoughts on pickleball? Because, you know,
that was my question to you.
What are your thoughts on pickleball? I want to ask you about that. Do you think that it's a good investment decision that I made?
Well, to some extent, I think time will tell, but it is really picking up as a sport. I think it's pickleball courts are opening up at every nook and corner, so I think there's something there. Yeah. But I'm not the right person. I have to ask you, what do you think?
I mean, since you're the pro investor in sports, I mean, no. you should help with your thoughts on it.
No, like I said, there's something there. I think it's really, really picking up as a sport.
What do you think about pickleball, ma'am? Do you play?
You know, I was dying to play and they said, watch out for your knees. They said that we get the most sports injuries from people who are attempting to play pickleball. So I said, my time for exercise is exactly 40 minutes and I have no time for injuries in my current lifestyle. So I had to give up pickleball, but we have it so close to home. Maybe one day. So now I think we're nearing the end of this session. I just wanted to say, I'm the auntie here, so let me say thank you to both these wonderful girls. Avarna looks like a movie star, but she makes contemporary music, films. She's brought Hollywood magazines to India, and magazines like the Rob Report. Very accomplished. And Samantha, I think you've heard all of Samantha's stories. I've known her from a child. I've seen her become a beautiful movie star. I've seen her, you know, take on difficult roles. I've seen her successfully through a wellness journey. And now I wish you all the best in your entrepreneurial journey. But I think the single point that I want to make is that for none of these women, it's the diversity call that made them successful. Even if they were men, they would have been successful. And I think that's the point of the whole conversation. The second, learning that I have come to deeply appreciate is from Martin Luther King. And Martin Luther King said this, and he probably said it during, referring to the Black Americans. But here, it's very relevant for all of us today, that he said, let us not be looked at and identified by the color of our skin, but the content of our character. Today, these two women, these young ladies have displayed remarkable character. So I thank you both for making time for this session. I'm sure that AIMA has enjoyed listening to you. Ladies and gentlemen, I hope you've enjoyed this session because everyone's